with Blue White Red Delver against Miracles.
This one's not looking so good, though, as we're going to zoom in and we see a board position here with Michael sitting at 4, so his life's not very high, but he has the Counterbalance Sensei's Mining Top lock in place. You see 2 Tundras, a Mountain, a Scalding Tarn, and an Island out there for Michael. Terminus may have just resolved.
This is why you need to have that Banefire. Just PS Banefire you. You know?
I can get behind Banefire always.
Oh, yeah. Or Demon Fire.
Always.
I guess Demon Fire was the original, right?
If you could...
Yes.
Yeah.
Demon Fire you?
Was Demon Fire uncounterable?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, when you have no cards in your hand.
Oh, yeah, when you're hellbent. Right. It's been a long time since I've seen Demon Fire.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I Demon Fired so much. In my head.
What deck?
There weren't really
When?
tournaments.
Huh?
Yes, in 2000.
Demon Fire?
No, I cast Demon Fire a lot. One of the, there was a blue-white-red deck I was particularly proud of that was one of the early adopters of Ancestral Visions back when when there was sort of this backlash against the suspend cards from Time Spiral. A lot of people thought Ancestral Visions was just a really bad card, and I was advocating a blue-white-red deck with Wrath of God, Electrolyze, Demon Fire, Sonic Blast, a whole bunch of burn spells. It's a good time.
Here's a Ponder from Henley, and we're going to see a Brainstorm here from Michael. Counterbalance Trigger looks to be on the stack as well, so assuming that he did order these correctly.
Kind of just want to copy-paste all of the quotes that people said about Ancestral Visions when it first came out. And, look for those same people, their thoughts when Jace the Mind Sculptor first came out. Like, there's this awesome Evan Irwin Magic Show video of people being interviewed at the Pro Tour where Jace was first legal, where it's literally just a laundry list of people talking about the card being overrated and not very good. You know?
I don't know anyone who would do that. That just seems ridiculous that someone would say that Jace would be bad.
Yeah. At
Pro Tour San Diego back in 2010.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah, you remember that video.
No, I have no idea what you're talking
Firsthand,
about.
right?
Actually, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, that's weird. So, Michael continues to keep the lock in place. What is Henley actually trying to look for? You know, obviously he's got Michael down to a relatively low life total. Does he have any realistic outs?
I believe that most of what he's doing is just kind of testing the waters to see exactly what's over there for Michael. I mean, he is locked right now, but if I'm able to somehow slip a 1 in or Michael makes some sort of mistake with his counterbalance triggers, I'll be able to win this game, because I think that's really all that he can do. There's really no getting out of this for Blue Red Delver. That's the big issue. Looks like Jace is going to be cast here. Yeah, it will.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have very many cards of their cost. I mean, in theory, he could play a Batterskull, right?
And he does have one in his hand.
But the tough thing is that Force of Will being juggled would counter that. And this Jace basically obsoletes the Batterskull.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really a ton of great options in his sideboard. Dude, I love a Chain Lightning in the sideboard, though. That's kind of gangster.
3 to the face.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be kind of sweet in this position if, like, Michael tries to crack the Scalding Tarn to bounce it back at Henley. I mean, first of all, the Scalding Tarn alone is enough to make the Chain Lightning lethal, but second, Henley can just send that back.
That would be something to see. This much is for sure.
And it sounds like a player who did not actually top 8 any of the tournaments at the time and lost to Jace the Mind Sculptor is bitter about it. Shout out to Tom Ross, by the way, unrelated, but he recently did well with a red deck.
I will have you know, Tom Ross did get 9th at that Pro Tour.
Yeah, that's really good.
That is really good.
Jace the Mind Sculptor was in the top 8.
Did Jace win the tournament?
No.
Yeah, that's a yes or no question. Did Jace go 6?
Neither did Tom Ross's deck.
Did Jace go 16-0 through the Swiss of the tournament?
Did Jace? Yeah.
No.
Lifetime.
No. Yeah, okay. I guess was that whole thing? No, there were split tournaments then.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Luis played the boss's deck and went XO.
Absolutely. Tom Ross, best known for popularizing an update to Michael Flores' Naya Lightsaber.
No, those are different decks. Those are different decks.
Their big innovation was putting 2 copies of Stoneforge Mystic in Naya Lightsaber.
Tom says Jace is overrated. I'm not sure I agree. but you're very defensive when it comes to Jace. Look at you.
No, dude,
You
I
are
don't care.
defensive.
I haven't cast a Jace the Mind. I will say I do have a really fond memory of Jace the Mind Sculptor recently. You know, I was cleaning out a closet and I found a stack of Jace the Mind Sculptors and fetch lands. That was pretty awesome. And a Candelabra of Tawnos of all things.
Why?
All right, so
Why do the rich get richer?
will
Why?
of the council removing Batterskull.
I hope the Jaces were bent.
No, they weren't.
I do.
Not all of them anyway. There's a lot of Jaces.
Council takes care of the Batterskull. We're going to leave these top cards on top here.
Sort of one of those existential questions. You know, if Tom Ross thinks that Jace the Mind Sculptor was overrated and Jace the Mind Sculptor thinks that Tom Ross was overrated, who's right, you know?
Yeah, sure. It's tough to say.
No, Tom Ross has been on a tear, though. He actually, over the past year, we keep seeing his name popping up. How many different open events has he? He was at the Invitational, obviously. He did well at an Open sometime this past year, too, right?
Oh, yeah, but he's been top 8 opens on the reg and then won the Season 2 Invitational.
And then I remember a PTQ win he just had not too long ago.
I think he had one, I think earlier this year. Not 100% positive on his PTQ results.
A lot of tournaments.
Well, I mean, he's back.
Yeah, he's back in a big way.
Full the way back, which makes me very happy. Big Tom Ross fan.
Yeah, Tom is awesome.
Michael, going to keep this card, it looks like. There's Nyland. Jace is going to take up. It's time for a little Fate Seal action now that he's taking care of one of the few cards that can slip through the cracks in Batterskull. So Michael says, you can have whatever this card is, since it doesn't matter. I imagine it's probably just a 1-mana spell that gets countered by top going on top of the deck from Counterbalance, or just something that he deems is perfectly fine to resolve. So Henley just going to pass the turn back. We're going to spin the top one more time.
So what have we established? We've established that Jay-Z would play Jace the Mind Sculptor and that Tom Ross would not. Therefore, Tom Ross is not Jay-Z.
Yeah.
That's logic.
It's something. It is definitely something. There's a top on top. It's going to take care of the brainstorm.
All right. Well, that didn't work. I can't imagine why anybody thinks that this is anything other than just pure magic.
I could see you on the left side of the table.
So I could see Paul Rietzel on the left side of the table.
No.
That's what I want to see.
Nope.
I want to see Paul Rietzel and Craig Wesco playing the Counterbalance Mirror someday. That would just that would be an awesome YouTube video. Just those two of them just playing it out. Maybe Iron Man.
Would it be better, that or you and Guillaume playing Kithkin against each other?
Guillaume and I play Beatdown all the time.
Why? Why do you lie on air? Why?
The last time I played Guillaume in a Grand Prix, he beat me with a Kithkin. In Constructed.
I don't believe you.
Knight of Meadowgrain.
Nope.
I'm serious. It was the Lorwyn Block Constructed Grand Prix in Rimini, back when we used to just fly to Italy to play in Grand Prix. And I played Guillaume in that tournament, and we were both playing 5-color control, and he boarded. He actually had Knight of Meadowgrain in his deck, which is one of the best Kithkin, obviously. And I'm not even counting. Obviously, you know, there's like changelings and stuff. I'm not even counting that. He literally just came with Knight of Meadowgrain, and he ended up beating me with it. It was very effective.
Didn't come prepared, did you?
I came prepared. I just discarded on turn 5.
Oh yes. Mana screw. Not the beatdown.
He chose to draw against me,
of course he did.
And then I missed my land drop, and then I just start discarding to hand size.
He's a genius, of course he chose to draw.
Cryptic commands my land and beats me down with a Knight of the Meadowgrain.
Yeah.
Eventually sculpting a game state where he keeps track of my entire library so that when I have just 4 cards left in my library, you know, keeping track from clashes. When I have 4 cards left in my library, he forces a fight with Broken Ambitions in one game where he's behind on cards, but he wins the fight for Broken Ambitions for 0 and mills me for 4 cards to deck me. Very, very well played.
You lose the game.
Yeah. Wafatapa is on the short list. He's one of, I can count the number of people on one hand that I think are in the running for best player in the world, and he is one of them.
Sword of Fire and Ice being placed on the stack here. Michael going to rearrange, show a 3, I imagine. Looks like we are. Maybe he didn't announce the counterbalance trigger. I'm not entirely sure. But you saw Neil stop him very, very quickly there. So, see what the holdup's going to be.
Yeah,
here.
It looks like the question at play is going. The question is going to be whether or not Michael missed the counterbalance trigger. my hope is that we'll spend about 10 minutes resolving this, and then Neil will get to keep a sword and never be able to resolve a creature, so that it will be for naught.
Entreat the Angels, which is a 3, will take care of the sword. Yeah, it looked like there was just a bit of a timing question. So now Michael is going to attempt to draw a card here so he can entreat the Angels, and there will still be a 1 on top. So he wants to make Angels, and he wants to get this game over with so we can head to a 3rd one. And Neil Henley is going to pack it up. So Michael Swailes is going to win game number 2 here over Neil Henley. Neil knowing he cannot get out of that lock, and we'll head to a 3rd one here between the blue-white-red decks.
Yep, and then winner of this will be in the finals against James Wynn's Shardless Bug deck. Shardless Bug. I think Shardless Bug is either way. I mean, he's okay facing Delver or Miracles. You know, like having Abrupt Decay is just absolutely awesome against Miracles, against Counterbalance, and against the Delver deck, he's got plenty of tools. I guess he has small preference towards playing against Miracles, but. Either way, these players are 46.5 minutes into their match and shuffling up for game 3. There's always a marathon when Miracles is involved, but will Miracles prevail in game 3? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a good matchup, and I've said this a couple of times. Just the way that Blue-Red Delver tries to win, which is either try to have a Delver draw or, over kind of just win over time with Batterskull and Stoneforge Mystic are just 2 things that Blue-Red Miracles is capable of beating. They have so many ways to kill a Delver on the opening turns of the game between Swords, Terminus, and Blast effects, be it Red Blast or Pyroblast. And the later we go, the better things get for Miracles, because they can get the top plus counterbalance lock in place and resolve Jace and do some brainstorming. So I've never really thought this is a good matchup for Red Delver, and it has oftentimes played out that way. Of course, mulligans can be involved and things like that, but I think when both players have reasonable opening hands and get to work, it's not a good place to be for Neil Henley and his split Red Delver deck.
Yeah, I mean, the blue-white Delver deck, I mean, he's got to get ahead on board a little bit. He's got to get something going. I mean, really, it's pretty obvious. He just wants Delver of Secrets. He wants to be applying some real pressure. A lot of answers to it, though. I don't know. What I know is that what I want to know is if we can talk about Ari Lax's preview card yet.
Well, I think everybody knows about it now.
Because it was the trivia question.
I understand, but I think we've got it all figured out at this point.
Dude.
You want to talk about Court of Calling? Go ahead.
Court of Calling, man.
All right.
Court of Calling is a convoke card that is for serious. What are you thinking of Court of Calling in Standard? I mean, the fact that Court of Calling works with Inspired that's pretty crazy.
I shouldn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's like really good.
I've always been a big fan of Court of Calling. I think it's a sweet card. These green decks, they do have a lot of just kind of permanents that just happen to be out there in play, like Sylvan Caryatid and Courser of Crewfix that can't attack a lot of the time. So I could actually see them being pretty good. Not great, not like it is with Wall of Roots and Pod and Modern, because the cards to search up, there's just a larger collection of them.
Yeah.
But I expect to see that card see some play.
Being able to tap your Pain Seer just for free and go find whatever you need, I mean, I don't know, that just seems super good. Now, the tough part is that triple green is not actually naturally just lined up with Inspired.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the most obvious Inspired cards are like blue and black. But nevertheless, I think that that is something to watch. But even just outside of that, Court of Calling can find any god you want, which is kind of interesting. You know, assuming you have the mana, of course.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But it's kind of interesting that even if the god isn't turned on, you can go find it if you just really want its ability as a sort of enchantment.
Neil looked a little bit reluctant to keep his hand. Didn't look thrilled with the setting he was looking at, but did decide to keep it. Michael mulliganed very quickly, not like what he saw, so he's going to go back for 6.
You know what's sad, though? We have all these great ideas, all these big hopes and dreams, but let's be serious. A month from now, is anybody going to be doing anything besides Court of Calling for pack rats? That's what these people do. You give them some new toy, some new technology that's just like they could do anything in the world they want, and instead they just make pack rats.
Don't ruin it. People are going to be courting for souls there.
No, they're not. They're gonna go get pack rats. That's all they ever. And they're gonna tap their pack rats to go get more pack rats.
I'll court a calling for 2, get another pack rat. I don't think else better in my deck.
I'm gonna go ahead and tap this overgrown tomb, this Temple of Malady.
Don't forget about Llanowar Waste.
Yeah, this Llanowar Waste. Take a damage. I'm gonna tap these 2 pack rats. I'm gonna get another pack rat.
Nice mana base, by the way, with Llanowar Waste.
I'm not gonna tap 2 pack rats
Way to take one.
and 3 mana to go get a pack rat when you could just discard a pack rat. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Michael, oh wow. This is a mulligan to 5 at a very inopportune time. Neil Henley maybe breathing a sigh of relief in what is a difficult matchup for him, but again was able to win game number 1, which was going along, so I again wonder what happened there.
Now, the Blue-White Miracles deck is one of the best decks at mulliganing in the format. It's got a lot of library manipulation, find what it needs. It doesn't need a ton of mana to operate. It's got some really, really, really powerful cards that can just, with a small amount of mana, can actually just completely take over a game, like Terminus or the Counterbalance Lock itself. Mulligans are very, very much not a problem for Michael's deck. Always bad, obviously, particularly against a Thoughtseize to Turok deck, but not as bad as it would be for most decks.
Michael with the planes, and now there is a Swords to Plowshares. Ooh, and a Daze. So
very effective.
We're going for the Delver of Secret Straw. That's exactly what's happening. Let's see if we're able to flip it. We are with another Daze. We are moving in right now.
Insectile Aberration Dazes. It is very effective.
It doesn't want to get in that sleeve, but it will. And here's a Volcanic Island before passing the turn back over to Michael.
Oh my god, is that a Spell Pierce in his hand too?
I think so.
This is filthy.
This is the Delver draw.
Filthy. This is the type of opening that Ben Rubin would do. Hall of Famer Ben Rubin. Just literally just, the filthmonger delight.
Here's the top. That's going to get Spell Pierce. That card's so important to Michael's deck, especially on a mulligan to 5, so that gets countered.
Oh yeah. This one's running away before it even started. Insectile Aberration gets in there, knocking Michael to 14.
And we're just going to pass. So just a one-lander here. So we are all in on this Delver.
Yeah, Henley continuing to just try to nurse this little, nurse the advantage that he has. That was a big draw. Is it a Vendilion click?
It's a V-click, but Swailes knows that Henley has a Daze because that was revealed.
Yep. So he's got to wait one more turn.
Yeah.
As Manuel Booker would say, it's a Windillion click.
It's very good, that's for sure. Are we sacrificing?
I think it's mostly just like a V and W type of thing because of his accent.
See if it's going to be Basic Island or not.
It is not.
Yeah.
Wanting to make sure that he has access to red mana to threaten Red Elemental Blast and the like.
So now we are going to cast a Brainstorm.
I like this. And he can also just shuffle away the chaff.
See if Brainstorm's going to resolve, and it will. So here comes 3 cards.
1.
Yep. It does have to draw 1 at a time because of Terminus.
Yep. Draws the 1 card by itself. That's a disciplined Miracles player.
Yep. 2 lands are going to go back. And here's the Swords. That is a Flusterstorm.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Punishing for the Brainstorm.
Yep.
Very effective. A lot of smart play by Neil Henley.
Yeah, this is the most Delver draw I've ever seen. This
is pure Delver.
Yeah, this is just trying to...
Oh my god, that draw is so Delver.
Just trying to punish him. Just trying to literally hold on to counter all the spells from a flipped Delver. That's it. Gonna sacrifice this air base and go down to 9. And we'll go get a Tundra.
Yeah, and after he shuffles, his top card is gonna be so random.
It certainly will be. Again, Michael's hand right now, he has a fetch land and a Vendilion click, and now a mystery card coming on a mulligan to 5.
Yeah, this has been a definitely an impressive fight for a multi 5 against a pretty impressive opening by Neil Henley as far as 1-land hands go.
Croc is actually a pretty big draw.
Oh yeah, with the Vendilion click in hand.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice draw.
That's a plan.
Henley gonna draw a card.
Continues to have no mana.
In for 3.
Here we find out what Henley is made of.
I don't know if he's going to Daze or not.
Not likely unless he has an actual removal spell for the Vendilion click also.
Yeah. Neil does have a Brainstorm that he can cast. Could have cast on the main phase. Just started by attacking. Yeah, he's going to cast Brainstorm now. Well, maybe if
Yeah.
he runs into a forcible or something.
Yeah, he would force a will the Vendilion Click. Michael doesn't have anything else.
Yeah. 1 and 2 and 3. Doesn't look like a forcible was drawn there.
Nope.
Another Delver Secrets, among other things. There's
Doesn't
also a Wasteland.
But what's tough is that he doesn't have another. He doesn't have another mana. And what he can do is Daze just untap his land, so that then he can drop his Delver of Secrets.
Yep.
To and putting back like a Wear and Tear or some other, instant on top of his deck. That way he can keep the pressure going. Because either Michael's going to let these two trade, or actually he'll have to just let him trade if he blocks, because the Daze will have the Caracas out of the equation.
Yeah, I like Dazing here, making him tap Caracas. They trade. Then you just replay the land, play the Delver.
Because remember the Vendilion Click is still going to get to use its ability.
That's true.
So there's a very good chance that it'll just take the Delver, but at least you'll be one closer to actually finding a land. The tough thing, of course, is that if Michael, depending on if Michael dazes or not, it could change whether or not Michael wants to take a card,
Oh, this
whether
is
or not Henley dazes.
Yeah, this is interesting now because now he's actually putting Delver on top of his deck, and Wear and Tear is the card underneath it.
Okay.
It's getting a little tricksy, but I think it's appropriate.
It's kind of nice that he's got the Wasteland to try to or to blow up that Caracas. Get this stuff under control. Henley still has a little bit of an edge here, but things are starting to shape up for Michael. He's got a lot of really, really live draws.
Yeah, there's the Daze. Caracas says, yeah, I'll pay. So now here's Vendilion Click. He says, I'll
Henley
target
does
you.
take... Okay, yeah.
So the hand right now is Daze, Force of Will, Daze, Sword of Faith and Famine, Meddling Mage, True Name Nemesis, Wasteland, and Volcanic Island. No land has been played yet here for Neil.
Yep.
We know
Michael gets to decide.
The top cards of his deck are Delver and Wear and Tear in that order.
Yep. So Michael does get to look at Henley's hand before deciding whether or not he wants to offer up the trade.
And you see him, Swailes just has a Flooded Strand in his hand, is hoping for some really good top decks moving forward. We'll see if
Who isn't, really?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Henley's plan actually does come together, if he's going to take a card or not, and what Swailes wants to do. I do like the way that Neil played this turn a lot. Really big fan. And I think he just said you can keep it. So now here is a trade. Yeah, it
Does
doesn't
take
anything.
nothing.
Maybe we're going to fire up a Wasteland now. I like Wastelanding in this spot. He's just going to play the Volcanic and pass the turn back. Does give the ability. Yeah, Daze doesn't really do a lot right now. It's fine, but draw a card.
It keeps Jace the Mind Sculptor off the table.
Presumably it keeps Jace. Like, Henley doesn't know that his opponent has a land.
Right.
Because he has a Flooded Strand, so. Now we're going to draw a Delver. So there's that. I think you have to play Delver because you know the top card's Wear
The only
and
question
Tear.
is if you Wasteland the Caracas first to turn off for Force of Will. But he opts not to.
That may have been a Vendilion Click again. Yep. Henley's going to reveal very quickly. There's Wear and Tear. This is going to flip again. And now we're going to attack for 3. Here's V-Click. And now we're going to see what he wants to do with Wasteland. If he wants to use it now or if he wants to wait. Honestly, he doesn't have much else to do. He doesn't have anything to do with the Wasteland, really, because he didn't fire it off earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Wasteland does mean that he's only 1 mana away from Sword of Feast and Famine. If he uses the Wasteland, he'll be much further away.
Same can be said for True Name Nemesis as well.
Yep. The options here, I mean, because the tough thing is that if you think Michael's for sure going to block anyway, then you don't even need to Wasteland the Caracas. Which
Yeah, if you think he's going to block and not bounce his creature with Caracas, like I could see him just say, all right, bounce, block, bounce.
Yep, but I kind of like Henley's position here. You know, his play there. See where Michael's at. If Michael offers the trade, keep your Wasteland and try to get to your 3 drops, because a True Name Nemesis right now would be pretty nice.
Here's a Brainstorm.
Wow, that's a lot of good cards.
Yeah, that's a Jace. It might be another V-Click and a Terminus.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. This is actually pretty hard to decide on how you want to move forward here.
That brainstorm is so good. I think that Michael is actually a small favorite now.
That's a really good brainstorm.
That was a really good brainstorm.
Yeah.
That's the kind of brainstorm my mom used to brainstorm back in the day, like the summer of '95.
Got to go down to 8. Well, Michael.
And Michael's got a variety of good options here. I mean, all roads begin with Jace the Mind Sculptor, though, right?
Most do. Most do.
At least the good ones, anyway.
We know that's for sure.
Michael continuing to advance the board. Jace the Mind Sculptor hits the table.
Can't daze it. Just has to look at it, know that it resolves. Hope to
What
draw.
an awkward collection of cards.
He has to hope to draw a land next turn.
Now, I mean, obviously Michael mulled to 5, but I mean, Henley has had just these. Henley has not been finding lands. I mean, this is a lot of turns, and he's looked at a lot of cards, and he just cannot find any land. That said, I got no sympathy for these legacy players who play like 19 land or 17 land or whatever. How many land does he have that actually make blue mana? 9, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Wow. No, that's Michael. He's playing a halfway sane number of land. Neil Henley, actually with 20 land, 4 of which are wastelands.
Yeah, that's how they build them. Blue, red.
That's how you do it in Legacy. You just want to feel something every time you're a little light on mana.
On occasion. On occasion. Neil's draw was a forcible that Michael left on top. Michael drew a brainstorm for the turn, so it looks like he's going to start by casting this. That's exactly what he will do. I wouldn't be surprised to see Neil try to counter this. Because if he counters this, it forces Jace to either Fate Seal him or brainstorm. And if Michael's not controlling his draw, it gives Neil a better chance to draw a third land. And so there is forcible removing Meddling Mage. Not too surprised to see that there.
True Name Nemesis is still a big game in Henley's eyes. The problem, of course, that Michael is juggling a Terminus.
And that card's going to go to the bottom.
That sounds like it was a land.
Yeah, Henley rubs his hands together, knowing, all right, this is a mystery draw, and I need it to be a third land. What is this? There's a lot of good cards it could be, truthfully. You could ponder, brainstorm, what have you. That's a ponder.
So start.
This will help. 2 and 3.
All right, so we've got at least one land, most likely.
Yep. Most likely.
Or else why are you in the tank? I always love when there's the one land you need and then 2 stinkers. And you're like, well, how bad do I want it?
Well, you might as well sell him on it. Could get him to Fate Seal again instead of brainstorming. That's not so bad. And gonna rearrange. Here's this. There's that.
Still no white mana, though.
Nope. Just gonna pass the turn back. Or to Swailes. It's a counterbalance. That's interesting. Yeah, that's gonna get the brainstorm out. Okay. So 3 cards. Oh, this is a Supreme Verdict, so that's useful. Those cards will go back. I imagine Verdict will go on top. Here's Counterbalance, that's naked. And there's an island right now in Michael's hand. So Michael on a mulligan of 5 is clawing his way back into this game as we are over an hour into this match. Henley gonna untap here. See what he can find. Again, 4-mana spell's not a good idea, but this deck doesn't play any of those. There's a Brainstorm on top. I imagine he's just going to go with True Name Nemesis. He's going to start with Sword, okay.
Testing the waters.
Yeah. That's good. True Name will come down at a later date. It's a little bit risky.
Yep. So next turn, he can drop True Name Nemesis.
Time to brainstorm yet again. Maybe he can drop True Name Nemesis. Another Jace.
I think Michael he has put this one away.
Doesn't take many brainstorms
No.
from Jace. It really doesn't.
Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor wins again.
A couple of cards on top here.
The fact that he's continuing to juggle that Terminus really removes most of Henley's counterplay. In theory, I guess Henley really needs to have a Force of Will so as to be able to Force Will the Terminus. Which is probably, there, oh, so this is how it starts.
All right.
Okay, so now that he actually has the Force of Will, he can True Name Nemesis, Force of Will the Terminus, and if Swailes has nothing else...
Well, we know he has a verdict in his hand.
Does Henley know that?
Well, Henley does not know that, no.
Because he's got more True Name Nemesis in his deck.
Yeah.
And this is how it starts.
Here's a Brainstorm. I'll see if the coast is clear. It is, so 2 and 3 cards coming.
That's a pretty loud signal that Michael has a Terminus on top.
Yeah, I mean, like, the fact that he knows the top card of his deck is just there's no reason for him to reveal unless he knows it's going to counter it.
Right.
So even though we know that he has a Terminus on top of his deck, I think it's just a situation where it's like, I'm not going to give away any information if I don't have to. Maybe it's a Terminus, but
Yeah,
it
but
could just be anything.
But Michael would be juggling a 1 if he didn't have a Terminus. Most likely.
Sure.
I mean, it could be anything, even a boat. Henley tanking on which cards to put back in his bid to try to crawl and claw out of this particular counterbalance lock.
Don't know if he's ever found a fetch line yet. Oh, there we go, finally. He's going to pass the turn back. I am not a fan of passing the turn back there. Unless he has like Vendilion Click in his hand, I hate passing the turn back there. Here's another Brainstorm. You have to cast something. Because the longer you let Michael do this, the chances of winning the game get lower so fast. So very fast. Gonna try to cast a top now, and this is probably gonna draw out the Force of Will. Can't let your opponent assemble the lock. This is what beat him in the second game.
Yep.
This is what beats Blue-Ray Delver most games. Gonna sacrifice here.
Definitely well played by Michael. You know, obviously got a very fortunate Brainstorm early on, and Henley was a little short on mana, but crawling back from a Mold of 5, well, he was under a lot of pressure, because remember, it was a Delver of Secrets with several cheap counter magic early on.
Oh. Looks like he may be casting Wear Tear to take down Counterbalance in response to top.
I like that. That's a good play.
Yep, that's
just
gonna
a
work.
good play.
I still don't want top resolving.
You know, the tough thing is that now he can just juggle the Terminus
Yeah.
with the top instead of just having to use Jace to do it.
Yeah, I would probably fight over top here if I was Neil, if I'm in his seat. Again, I don't know the cards of my opponent, but I know how integral top is to the success of Miracles. I just wouldn't want it resolving.
Yeah, doesn't mean he's got anything to fight with, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of just all in on this True Name Nemesis, which he continues to hold, not wanting to just give it up to a Terminus. But it looks like, did he draw another Force Will?
Potentially. Here's True Name, finally. That's
Wow.
good.
This is it. This is huge. This is really, really big. And now he can sort of Feast and Famine the True Name Nemesis. He has Michael on a 2-turn clock. Michael does have a Terminus, but Henley has the Force of Will, another Force of Will. This is huge. This is so well played by Henley too. I don't know if he'll actually get out of it because this is kind of a nightmare situation. But yeah, no, oh yeah. Obviously, there's a Supreme Verdict still to be dealt with, but he doesn't know that, and you got to crawl out of it somewhere. If he plays a True Name Nemesis again next turn, he's not gonna have the mana to wait. He needs to do it now, because obviously he's up against the pressure of that Jace.
Oh, there's the Force
So there's
of Will.
the Force of Will.
With the days. Those are the last 2 cards in Henley's hand.
Absolutely, which means that even if Michael Supreme Verdicts Henley here, Henley still has time to draw a True Name Nemesis next turn, equip the Sword of Feast and Famine, and begin the impossible comeback.
3, 4.
There is Supreme Verdict.
So there's the exchange. And now for Neil, he's got to draw one of those copies of True Nemesis that's left in his deck. And he's got about maybe 2 turns to do so.
Yeah, Michael is probably he decides to brainstorm instead of take up the Jace.
3 lands is what he's looking at. One of them is a fetch land, and he hasn't played a land yet for the turn, I believe.
So he's going to want to crack a fetch land and get a fresh look. This does give Henley a little bit more time to get lucky and try to find a true name Nemesis.
Still the best draw of the bunch by a healthy margin. There's a Tundra. And Jace is starting to take over. So spin for 3. Council's Judgment, a red Elemental Blast, and a land. And red Elemental Blast might be the check mark here. That might be the ticket. Because red Elemental Blast can, of course, counter True Nemesis preemptively, and Henley just has to draw and pass the turn back anyway. So now Swailes is going to untap all those lands. And now we're going to go deeper into the Miracle Tank, and now we're ticking up.
Yep, this is where he just tries to lock it up.
Mm-hmm.
2 more turns of this.
He left that on top real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Pass the turn back.
Henley knows. You wouldn't let me keep it otherwise.
Gonna spin top really quickly here on the end of Neil's turn. Michael will draw a card. He's taking up. Take a look again. He's sitting at a relatively healthy 7. Remember, this is a mulligan
so we
of
gotta
5.
Hope. At least you put it on the bottom.
Yeah. You see Neil perk up a little bit.
The tough thing is that there's not really a lot of live draws anymore. I mean, I guess a red blast on the Jace.
Yeah, and he's going to extend the hand. That's going to do it. Michael Swailes is going to win this match over Neil Henley. 2-1, able to overcome a mulligan to 5, and he's going to move on to the finals to play against James Wynn and Charlesbug. One heck of a comeback there for Michael. Jeez. Not a very good mulligan to 5, but if you're ever doubting the power of Jace the Mind Sculptor, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Because that card won the game basically by itself.
Yes, Tom. Remember that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to jump back into the booth.